Look, I'm going to say this as straightforward and as simply as possible, and this will be controversial, but it's true, which is why I'm going to say it. The Houthis are right. In fact, you can argue they are the ones who are trying to uphold international law here.
No, they're not. They're not on the right side. They don't want what you want. I think you want peaceful coexistence between Jews and Arabs in Palestine. I think that's what you want. Houthis want all the Jews gone. So if you think that's being on the right side, nah, you're a idiot.
All right, guys, I got some big breaking news with this coalition, but this is always what they do. They'll drag in some other countries and pretend like they're part of this big coalition, but really it's just to get the name down on paper to make it appear more official than it actually is. I mean, the big point to make here is this is illegal. In order for the U.S. to start bombing another country, you need a declaration of war through Congress. That's what the Constitution says. And Biden didn't do that. If you had the time to go talk to the UK.
I don't think, hang on. Do you need war to carry out airstrikes? USA. No, it's not the other way around. It's not that war needs to be authorized by Congress, but it doesn't have to be a declaration of war. Isn't he got it backwards? Provisions in U.S. law give the White House the authority to launch limited foreign military action, experts say. There's not actually a strong case to prevent Biden from this kind of action. Several progressive Democrats who criticized Biden noted that Article 1 of the Constitution requires that Congress authorize war, not the president, one of the checks and balances that are hallmark of the U.S. political system. While the Constitution's Article 2 designates the president as commander-in-chief of the armed forces and gives him the authority to use military force without congressional authorization for defensive purposes. Defensive being the commercial ships. Oh, yeah, this is the executive power thing, yeah. Commander. The president shall be commander-in-chief of the Army of the Navy of the United States and of the militia of several states when called into the actual service of the United States. He may require the opinion in writing or the principal offer in each of the executive departments upon any subject relating to the duties of respective officers, and he shall have the power to grant reprieves and pardons for offenses. He shall have power by and with the advice and consent of the Senate to make treaties. Where does it say limited military action? Military force. Where does it say that? Read the War Powers Act. Okay. USA? Oh, this is the thing they mentioned in the article. Okay. Congressional frustrations, War Powers Resolution, limiting the authority to wage war. Nixon vetoed, Congress overrode, became law. What does this have to do with it? Does this mean he can't do it? Divides war powers. Yeah, it's just that Congress can declare war and appropriate funding, but the president is commander-in-chief of the armed forces. But where are they saying...
Lonerbox, you smarmy cuck bastard.
I know we got the UN resolution, but that's different. That's just them condemning the Houthi attacks, right? Fill up vacancies, appoint ambassadors. What's the precedent? Or wait, let's go here, sorry. Did he violate the War Powers Law? In addition to constitutional provisions, the use of force is controlled by the War Powers Resolution, which Congress passed in 1973 as a check on presidential power in the wake of the Vietnam War. That resolution requires military actions without a declaration of war or specific legal authority to be terminated within 60 days. Oh, so obviously, yeah, so if that would have to only exist if Article 2 did give, if being commander-in-chief did give you that power. Oh. So they have to be terminated within 60 days. They only have 60 days. Damn. Wouldn't that make them want to rush it? 2 months to fuck shit up, yeah. It requires the president to provide Congress within 48 hours of an attack, a report on the circumstances that necessitated the action, the authority under which it took place, and the estimated scope and duration of the hostilities. Oh, so Kyle's just wrong then. Like, what would be the point in this act if the president couldn't go past Congress? Huh. Yes, and notify Congress. Okay, damn. Okay, we're off to a good start. All right, let's go.
UK and go talk to the Netherlands and whoever else was nominally involved here. You didn't go and talk to Congress at all. In fact, I've already seen a number of tweets, and credit to these politicians who are coming out and saying this, but Val Hoyle is one congressperson who says these airstrikes have not been authorized by Congress. The Constitution is clear. Congress has the sole authority to authorize military involvement in overseas conflicts.
Me, I was muted for so long. Oh my God. What a retard. All right. So Biden in 2020 said that Trump doesn't have the authority to take us into a war with Iran without congressional approval. But this is assuming that Trump was considering a war with Iran. He didn't say this about this. Was this about Soleimani? Yeah, I don't care what you guys hear. This is just for me. That bit was just for me. Okay. Seems like he had the power. Seems like he had the authority. I don't know.
Conflicts. Every president must first
If his tweet about Iran was a bit shit in context.
come to Congress and ask for military authorization, regardless of party. We have Ro Khanna came out and said a very, very similar thing. And I don't know, I haven't seen any Republicans yet say it, but of course, I know Thomas Massie will come out and say it. There may even be others who come out and say it. I saw Lindsey Graham celebrating what Biden is doing here. But let's understand something, guys. Why is this happening? Why is it the case now that our tax money is going to bomb Yemen? Because Israel decided to do a genocide in Gaza. They've killed 28,000 civilians, including 12,000 children. And we decided...
They're all civilians? 28,000? Why is he making that claim? We can only guess how many people in Hamas have died in those strikes. Israel, yeah, 0 soldiers killed. Yeah, come here. How many Hamas fighters? I think the last number that Israel gave, I saw, was December 29th. So 2 weeks ago, they said they'd killed 9,000. Or 8,000, sorry, Hamas fighters. You can be skeptical of that if you want, because it's not been verified by anyone else. But if it's between this, right, and the Gaza Health Ministry, which says like apparently 0, because they only name it like high ups, like generals. Oh, they've gone to 9,000 on 5th of January. Damn, dude. Okay, interesting.
Yemen decided, we want them to stop that, so we're going to go ahead and block the Red Sea to prevent trade with Israel. Now, by the way, they've been clear every step of the way. If Israel stops doing the in Yemen, we will stop controlling the Red Sea and blocking trade with Israel. And so the U.S. looked at that, and Biden was so outraged and aggrieved by the blocking of trade with Israel as they committed genocide that he decided, I need to go do an illegal, unconstitutional war and go take U.S. tax.
Holy shit. First of all, they were not blocking. They were firing shots at civilian vessels and occasionally boarding them. Like vessels that had nothing to do with Israel, or like a vessel might have come from one country, be flagged to another, and then have like a percentage stockholder of the company from Israel, like that kind of shit. I don't know. It's why do people feel like they need to do this? Why do people feel like they need to inject their own desires and their own ideology and their own wishes onto these like fucking people in Yemen? Like, why do they need to do that? Why is it just like, oh, I think the Houthis they're actually just doing what I would want them to do. Like, what the fuck are you saying? And by the way, when it comes to the genocide, I don't know why people can't just say that for what it is as well, because the Houthis have also fired rockets at Israel, indiscriminate again, because they can't aim their... they've all been intercepted. I don't think any Yemeni missiles have actually killed anyone, thankfully, but they could have, because they've tried. It's just like, again, Yemen wants Israel to stop fighting. That's true. They don't want Hamas to stop fighting. They want Israel to be destroyed. They want Hamas to... it's a war. They want Hamas to win the war. That's like what would be their achievement. That Israel... that I guess they're... Well, it's not even. I guess if I was being charitable to them, it would be like that they were trying to stop trade so that Israel becomes an international pariah. People want to distance themselves from Israel. People want to, they lose economic partners because of all the chaos that's being caused. And then eventually they just can't like keep up their military strength. And then they just get overwhelmed. And then Israel gets invaded by Hamas. And other like militant groups, and then it just gets taken over, and that's it. It just all becomes Palestine. That's kind of like the ideal scenario for the Houthis. Ultimately, what they really wanted to do was to get involved. That's it. Because if you are a Middle Eastern dictator or a group that's like a government or whatever, the best way to get people who you're governing to be chill with you, to like you, to support you more, is to fight with Israel. That's kind of. I don't think they actually expected sincerely. They're still on the right side? No, they're not actually. No, they're not. They're not on the right side. They don't want what you want. I think you want peaceful coexistence between Jews and Arabs in Palestine. I think that's what you want. Houthis want all the fucking Jews gone. So if you think that's being on the right side, nah, you're a fucking idiot. Like they literally hate Jews so much that they mentioned them twice. It wasn't enough to say God is greatest, death to America, death to Israel. It was also death to Israel and a curse upon the Jews, you know? It's kind of had to be both. I think they also deported like the last small handful of Jews that were hanging out that were still living in Yemen. There's one Jew left, and I think that person might be in trouble now. I don't know. They also do like fucking Hitler salutes and shit. I don't know. Why do you project your own ideology onto the Houthis? Also, Lonerbox, here's what Houthis want. Okay, I'm sorry. You've been around for a while, Brooksa, but that is actually the most brain damage thing I've ever heard someone say. Yeah, I'm not. That's actually not my ideology. I don't know if you know that. That's me listening to what they say and telling you what they say. How the fuck is that the same as me projecting my... Fuck off. Go away. You need a long break to think about how fucking stupid you just sounded saying that. Jesus Christ. Absolutely insane. Anyway.
Tax money and use U.S. bombs to go after the Houthis. Look, I'm going to say this as straightforward and as simply as possible, and this will be controversial, but it's true, which is why I'm going to say it. The Houthis are correct. The Houthis are right. In fact, you can argue they are the ones who are trying to uphold international law here. When they say, oh, you're going to do a genocide and nobody's going to do anything to try to stop it, well, let's do the bare minimum that we can and try to block trade with you. So what happened as a result of that? Okay, the insurance rates for the ships in Israel went up.
Just so you guys know, it is not legal to launch projectiles that cannot be aimed at another country, like Israel. It's not legal to go into the Red Sea and to use drones to fire at civilian vessels or to board them and commandeer them. That's actually, you're not allowed to do that. That's illegal. Disruption of maritime trade in international wars. Pretty illegal, actually. I don't know. Not that. Why do people say they care about? Why do people act as if they care about the law? I know they're just saying that because it's like I feel like people don't really know their enemies, and I feel like if you're like a far leftist and you feel like you're appealing to liberals, it's like you just use laws in a really juvenile way, and they're like, oh wait, if we wait, these liberals they have no morals, they don't care about working class or the Palestinian, but they do care about laws. Huh? If we just say the law, but then they just go on to like half-ass bullshit a bunch of laws, and then like that'll get them. If I tell them it's a law, they'll come on board. It's so like it's so naive. I don't know. Dear me.
Sometimes they have to take a different, much longer route to get to Israel. Oh man, the horror! How terrible! But the U.S.
Yeah, it's probably not that terrible for people like me and Kyle, getting attacked by non-state actors who are unpredictable, who are using drones to fire at them. If they're doing that, and they have to go all the way around the Cape for an extra 10 days, that increases costs. Aren't we? I thought we were on the left here, like cost of living crisis. That's inflating prices for everyone because the Houthis were not going to just, they were not just targeting Israeli ships. They went for like a ship that was, they went for one ship that was to do with like Liberia and the Bahamas, one ship from like fucking, like India, or another one from Japan, and like these. And the result was that no one wanted to go through the Red Sea. So that affects everyone. No one wants to go through even if they were just going for Israeli boats. First of all, should the rest of the world trust that? Should other people in these civilian vessels take that risk and just go through the Red Sea, which is being policed by non-state actors like the Houthis, like by non-state militants? You're gonna go through a toll booth with a Houthi in there and just like hope for the best? Yeah, what they're doing is that it's incidentally, it's collective punishment, isn't it? Because everyone suffers for that. International trade's kind of important, you know? It's like how we get our goods. It's how they come at us at a particular cost that we can afford them and shit like that. And if there's disruptions, people will put their prices up. Ugh.
The U.S. would rather protect trade to Israel than protect Palestinian babies who are being bombed on the regular. If you wanted the Houthis to stop, you know what you could have done? Told Israel, hey, you've already been doing this for months. You can go ahead and wrap it up now. 28,000 dead civilians is enough. Bombing, another hospital, another school, another UN building, another marketplace. Wrap it up. I think we got the point. I think the 12,000 dead babies is enough. If you wanted them to stop, Biden could have told them, no more money, no more weapons. We're going to stop this. This is having wide-ranging consequences. Instead, what does he do? Pats Israel on the back, gives them a green light, tells them they're special and they're precious, and then decides to drag the U.S.
Let's say Biden does that to Israel, and then they say, okay, stop. But then Hamas says, you're not getting the hostages back, though. And we've said on television, multiple different people, their spokesman said it, Hania said it. They've said that their intention is to do October 7th again, as many times as they can, and to capitalize on the gains that they made on October 7th. That was Hania's last speech just a few days ago. I don't know.
U.S. into another Mideast war on their behalf. I mean, I'm at a loss for words here, because I always expect the U.S. to make stupid decisions, to do terrible things. But this is like a level above and beyond.
This was 9th of January, this speech. It was like 6 days ago. I've checked this as well, like with my Arabic speaker and all that. It's like, he said we should hold on to the moment of the victory on October 7th and build upon it. Time is on our side. Donations to Gaza are not humanitarian aid, but financial jihad. Like, this is the leader who lives in Qatar in a fucking 5-star hotel. Like, this is why I don't get the idea, like people like Kyle saying that, oh, if the Houthis, if like Biden can't stop Israel from carrying out operations in Gaza, and the Houthis can do it instead. It doesn't affect this. It doesn't affect what Hamas thinks. They just get that for free, I guess. And also, yeah, Israel does not take direct orders from Biden. I don't know. Again, like, I'm not against people who say they want a ceasefire. Like that's what I want. A ceasefire is like, obviously that's the first thing that everyone wants when a bunch of people are dying who don't deserve to die. Some of the least deserving people on earth to die, like kids, stateless kids in Gaza. The problem is that if you want to go for a ceasefire, it's not just one side that has to cease fire. It's not just Israel that has to cease fire. It also has to be Hamas. And there has to be an understanding that they're not going to do shit like this, even though their leaders are literally saying that they want to do it again. Fuck me. And apparently they want to use humanitarian aid to do it. Jesus Christ. Financial aid, yeah. Because I think he's talking about the organization that he's fundraising for here, I think. Islamic Nation. Because it has an important role. The Scholars of our Nation have a pivotal role on two fronts. The first front is supporting the resistance. The whole world is pouring weapons on the occupation. The whole world is not afraid to do so. Yeah. I know it's 24K from the Gaza Health Ministry. I think people are adding on the number of people missing as well, because there's like 6,000 or 7,000 disappeared, like missing people in Gaza, and they're probably dead. Anyway. Whoa.
was 100 million trillion% avoidable. We don't need to be going to war with Yemen. We don't need to be bombing 10 cities in Yemen. We don't need a hot war with the Houthis. And by the way, another really important point, this makes Americans less safe. Because now you are begging for retribution and retaliation because the U.S. is doing Israel's dirty work for them. This makes us less safe. It absolutely makes us less safe. We are not a target of Houthis or Hezbollah or Hamas. But you know what? When you keep sending money and you keep sending weapons and you keep greenlighting a genocide, maybe eventually they go, hey, they are the problem. You know, they're the dealer.
I hate going back to the slogan, but the second line on it is death to America. Houthis don't like America. I don't. Okay. Wow.
It's giving Israel, the addict, their fix. And now you go and you bomb Yemen. I said it before, I'll say it again. The Houthis are correct. Their action of blocking the ships was correct.
What? Okay, if you think it's correct, just call it what it is. It's not blocking ships. It was commandeering and firing at ships, civilian ships. Yeah, just say that's correct. Why are you couching it if you think it's correct? If you're going to stand by it, if you're going to giga chat it and plant your fucking flag in the ground and rip your shirt up or whatever, like just say, yeah, I think they were correct to attack civilian vessels. Why? I hate that. It's like, yeah, bro, yeah, of course yeah. How did you tell? I think they were justified to engage in a BDS practice against the state of Israel. Like, fuck off.
Absolutely. It should have been the UN that was doing that, right? It should have been the US, if we actually cared about human rights, us doing that. No, Yemen, a super poor country, had to do the right thing and step up, and now we're bombing them as a result of it. Now,
to be fair, Operation Prosperity Guardian to begin with was actually quite a lot of and also the UN the Security Council did condemn the Houthi attacks. So that's why this is the state next step, right?
Cuck bastard.
It's like United States, United Kingdom, Australia, Bahrain, Canada, Denmark, Greece, Netherlands, Norway, Singapore, fucking Sri Lanka, Seychelles. Do not touch the civilian vessels in the Red Sea, says the Lions of Seychelles.
I should point out there are some reports that are unconfirmed as of this moment that
Lak Chong, thanks for the 4,000 Nigerian. I really appreciate that. Thanks very much.
They went after U.S. ships. So Crystal was telling me that just the other day we targeted a bunch of their drones. We shot down a bunch of Yemen's drones, the drones that they're using to police the Red Sea effectively.
Yeah.
And there are some reports now that they went after U.S. ships. We don't know the timeline of the events. So in other words, we don't know if the Houthis knew the U.S. were going to attack them, or the U.S. was already in the midst of attacking them, and then the Houthis started attacking the ships, or we don't know if they attacked the ships in retaliation to us attacking their drones the other day. We don't even know for sure if they did attack the ships. There's just some unconfirmed reports that happened, but now that's almost certainly going to happen.
So this is from December, early December, 4th of December. U.S. warship shoots down drones fired from Houthi-held Yemen Red Sea. Houthi spokesman said the group's navy had attacked 2 Israeli ships. Remember, not all the ships that were targeted were Israeli as well. We saw that when they said they were targeting Israeli ships, and then the first 3 that they went for actually weren't. Detected an anti-ship ballistic missile exploding near the Unity Explorer, a Bahamian-flagged UK-owned. So actually there's a UK-owned cargo ship 1 month ago. Okay. So we got a reason to get involved. Both of them flagged in Panama, 2 more ships. One of them part UK-owned, being struck by missiles. Enabled by Iran. Well, maybe, who knows. Captured armed men who seized an Israeli tanker. Israeli linked tanker, sorry, linked. I don't get it. Why is this okay? I don't get it. Yeah, it was a U.S. Navy ship, wasn't it? They declared themselves part of the Axis of Resistance. U.S. said its warship captured armed men who had earlier 2 missiles were fired towards the warship as after they captured men. Yeah. Golly.
And this is what we've been talking about, guys, how everything...
No, none of the ships were under the Israeli flag. The problem with flags is the flag doesn't actually tell you where the ship is from or where it's going. That's not, like, the way that the system works with ships. It's got like it can be owned by people from one country, but then flagged to another country. Like it's a weird system that they do.
Escalates out of control, and the tit for tat, it turns into a massive snowball effect, right? And so now, the Houthis...
Sometimes they do, yeah, but it's like, there's like point of registry is different from, it's not necessarily the same. So it can have an Israeli flag, but it could have like barely anything to do with Israel. Yeah.
Fire back on some U.S. ship. Nobody's died. No U.S. people have died, right? But imagine even one U.S. soldier dies. Then, Joe Biden and neocons and Republicans, all these people could look at that and say, well, the Houthis are just a proxy for Iran, so this means Iran killed a U.S. soldier. Now we got to go to war with Iran. So this is where we're at. Look, of all the horrible things that Joe Biden has done, literally put at the top of the list, the tippy top of the list, green-lighting Israel doing a genocide and arming them and funding them as they do it. And now, illegally and offensively...
I want to say, sorry, everyone who postures this hard about law... And again, I don't like, you can disagree with laws. I don't know why, or you can disagree with legal rulings and all that. But if you're going to say it'd be this uncritical about what you think are laws, even though they're not, I don't know. I would wonder, because I imagine if we're talking about law, if the ICJ doesn't implement provisional measures for South Africa's case because they think it's bullshit, if that happens, Kyle's not going to agree with it. He'll just say that the ICJ is like sold out or whatever, right? Like, yeah.
Bombing Yemen, bombing the Houthis in Yemen. This is a country that didn't attack us and was only trying to effectively do a blockade of Israel in a sad attempt to put economic pressure on them to get them to stop carpet bombing babies in Gaza.
Carpet bombing?
I don't know what else to say about it, man. But this is bad.
Is that what the allegation is now? Carpet bombing? Okay.
And so we told you from the very beginning in those long Israel segments, we told you, look out, because this is how giant regional wars start. This is how it happens. It's a little bit of, we're backing Israel. Israel's massacring civilians in Gaza. Then it's Israel doing tit for tat with Hezbollah in one area, and then it's us, the U.S., bombing Shia militias in Iraq, bombing Shia militias in Syria, Israel taking out a Hezbollah commander here, an Iranian commander here, a Hamas leader in Beirut, in Lebanon, wildly illegal. You can't just bomb Lebanon. They did. And then...
I don't know if I think that's very ethical to do, but is it illegal? Is it? I think it might... That one might be. Yeah, fucking. I don't actually know. Because it's basically an assassination. And I think it was only Hamas people who died in that strike. But is it okay to assassinate, like, by bombing a house, by bombing, like, the flat? Even if it's like a precision bomb that only kills the people? I think it was like a Hamas leader, like 2 commanders, and then just some party members. Is that legal? Why not? That's not really a good answer. I just want to know if it's legal or not. Because they are at war with Hamas, and Lebanon is at war with Israel. Is Lebanon at war with Israel, though? Or like, because obviously Lebanon, the government, is different from Hezbollah, the military, which, that gets a bit complicated. I don't know. I would be interested to see what the legal opinion is on that.
Now we are in a hot war, bombing Yemen, completely illegal, completely unconstitutionally.
Damn.
And for what? We know the answer. The thing that we're doing it for is to continue to allow Israel to carpet bomb children. Never been more disgusted than I am right now.
This characterization is so fucking mental, man. I guess you would, if you haven't stopped for 1 second in your busy day to think about, is every death in Gaza really a civilian? Like, all 24,000 of them, or 28,000 if we're taking Kyle's numbers? Has Israel just missed Hamas the whole time? I guess if they're doing a genocide, maybe they're so precise with their surgical bombs that they just like they skip past Hamas. I don't know. Jesus. Oof. Yeah. Interesting. What a strange segment. So, I mean, what's the recap there? It's not illegal to do military action. It's just that you have you're only allowed to take limited military action for a set period of time. I think it was 60 days. It's just the 73 War Act. Okay, so it's not illegal. It's what else? What the Houthis are doing absolutely is illegal, and it's not a blockade. They're not blocking ships. They are attacking ships and boarding ships. That's not just Israeli ships. It seemed to be quite random whether they were choosing ships. It results in everyone having to go the long way around, and that is not just like, oh, civilian trade, maritime trade. No, that affects people's lives. That affects the prices of goods in I guess what Kyle would say is a cost of living crisis. The Houthis don't want a ceasefire. They've never wanted a ceasefire. They want Israel to ceasefire. They don't want Hamas to ceasefire. Hamas doesn't want a ceasefire. They seem to be quite intent on continuing October 7th, doing it again, using what people call humanitarian aid to fund what is actually a humanitarian jihad. That's what Hania called it a few days ago. So, there's quite a lot of... It's like, don't project your own standards and ideologies onto like fucking brown people, like the Houthis. It's just, don't do that. I don't know why. Don't do it to anyone. I don't know why people have to add this stuff in. It's like they just want want the thing that I happen to exactly want. Yeah, I don't like no, they do not. They're not like you. The Houthis they're a bit different from Kyle Kulinski. Anyway, would they approve of this here? Probably not.
And by the way, if you turn on mainstream media, whoo, good
Would they approve of his 2011 tweets? Maybe.
luck getting the context. There is not a single channel in mainstream media that will tell you the very basic thing. Hey, why is Yemen doing this? Why are they policing and patrolling the Red Sea? Why are they trying to block ships here? I don't understand. Again, they're doing it to try to stop Israel from doing a genocide. Putting economic pressure on them to try to stop them from doing a genocide. That's why. Now, when you hear that context, it's a lot harder to critique it, isn't it?
Well, that's not what... Yeah, if you put it that way, if that's exactly what was going on. It's just that they don't want to stop a genocide. That's not really true. If they want to stop a genocide of Palestinians, they might want to stop that. No, they want Hamas to win the war. That's what they want. They want Israel to be destroyed. That's why their slogan has death to Israel and a curse upon the Jews. They're making sure you don't think it's just anti-Zionism. It's not anti-Semitism. No, it's anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism. It's both. It's kind of both. And also death to America, yeah. And they're not just blocking... Again, it's like, if you're going to defend it, just say what it is. They're attacking civilian vessels. It's quite fortunate that no one died because they were using means to stop those boats that could have got people killed, like drones that had to get intercepted by Rule Britannia, Guardian of the Sea. Oh God, can you imagine if like Britain succeeds in this endeavor and they restore safe passage to the Red Sea? Like Rishi Sunak could literally ride that into an election victory. That'd be disgusting. Conservatives they get the fucking boner that British boomers get over the thought of any kind of revival of the glory of the British Empire. If we actually emerge from this, if Rishi Sunak emerges from this as the guardian of the Red Sea, of international trade. Oh God. World War I literally started, okay? The seeds were sown for World War I because another country thought they could have as many boats as Britain could. Germany. The Kaiser thought he looked at Britain and he was like, I want that many boats. So he started building boats. And then Britain was like, mate, what? What are you doing? What did you say? So Britain built more boats. And then they didn't like each other. And then they escalated over the Balkans and there was a war. That's basically what happened. Straight facts. In the end, Britain did build more boats. We built 19 dreadnoughts. Kaiser only built 13. Cuck. Get fucked! Ooh. Pretty rough out there. Pretty rough. I'm trying to imagine just like British patriots and how fucking excited they are about it. You shall not pass. These vessels shall be awarded safe passage across the Red Sea. Love international maritime trade. Love it. Quality, son. Hey, Houthis. Simple as.
And by the way, Hassan Piker was saying on Twitter that he turned on CNN and they were describing the U.S. illegally bombing Yemen as a de-escalatory action. Oh, man. Holy shit, man. This is bad.
Shit.
This is bad. Lord only knows what happens from here. Lord only knows how long we'll continue to bomb Yemen. Lord only knows now what they'll do in response, or if Hezbollah comes in more, or Iran comes in more, or if now, Lindsey Graham starts screaming about, let's go invade Iran. But Biden's probably close. If he was going to green light a war with Yemen illegally, then why not go all the way and do Iran? Imagine blowing your chances at re-election so that you continue to allow Netanyahu to do a genocide.
Okay.
Imagine being that fucking stupid. Imagine being that fucking stupid.
That's what the kind of person who's thinking of defecting to the Republican Party is thinking. Anyway, as far as we know, they hit 73 targets, 73 sites, and what was it? Five dead, 6 injured. I don't think. Is this the article that had it? Hang on. I don't think any civilians have been reported dead yet. So, I don't know. Maybe Israel can take some fucking pointers from this. I mean, I know Yemen's a slightly different environment, but still, god damn it. This was a couple of days ago. I don't know if things have changed, but that was like in the first 73 strikes. At least this article's got it right. Look, what are you talking about the mainstream media? They have conducted, this is actually what the Houthis did, they conducted 27 attacks against international shipping in the southern Red Sea area since mid-October. And what they say is a concerted campaign to target ships with Israeli links in support of Hamas and Gaza. They're in support of Hamas. There we go. Not, incidentally, not in support of a humanitarian ceasefire on both sides. No, that's actually not what they went for. No. Many of their attacks, however, have been directed at merchant ships without Israeli links, prompting the US and a coalition of allies to dispatch warships to the Red Sea to protect shipping lanes, see off raiding boats, and shoot down missiles and drones when necessary. Wait, missiles and drones? What are you talking about? Mainstream media. Why? What missiles and drones in this supposedly peaceful blockade? Okay.
That's what we got in Joe Biden. So, by the way, final point. All you Republicans, oh my God, let's do 74 hearings on Hunter Biden's cock and balls. You want to talk about impeaching Joe Biden? You want to talk about accountability? Here you have a clear-cut example of an illegal bombing campaign. The Constitution is super clear. The president can't just willy-nilly go around and start bombing whoever the hell they want for whatever reason they want. No, you need a declaration of war from Congress in order to do a war. This is an act of war. It is 100% illegal. This isn't, vital for necessary defense of the nation at the last minute. No, not at all. Nobody makes the argument that, oh my God, the Houthis are taking down Cleveland if we don't act. Doesn't happen. So here we know this is offensive, this is aggressive, this is illegal, this is unconstitutional. If you want to go after Joe Biden for anything, here's your chance. But they're not going to do it. You want to know why? Because they agree with Biden. They agree with Biden 100%. Absolutely pathetic, terrible breaking news. This thing keeps getting worse and worse, and I don't have much hope that it's going to change.
Okay. I don't even.